Leaves are falling all around.
4:33 on TSN 690. It is Game Points. I'm your host, Matthew Ross. We're here till 7 o'clock tonight. That's right, 7 o'clock tonight. They're giving me this much time. I know, right? Update in the NHL game ongoing. 1-1 right now. Chicago versus St. Louis. Just over 10 minutes left in the second period there. They debated for a while whether or not to give Alexander Steen, or rather Marian Hossa, a penalty because of an inadvertent high stick. They end up giving it to him. Blackhawks weren't happy. And guess what happens a couple of seconds into the power play? That's right. Alexander Steen gets a slashing penalty. 4-on-4 hockey right now in Chicago. Elsewhere, the Warriors have opened it back up. It's 18 points in their favor right now, 4:06 remaining in the second quarter against the Clippers. But let's switch gears here and talk to our next guest. He is one half of Macko and Cauz in the morning on TSN 1050 in Toronto. You can see his work on CFL.ca or follow him on Twitter.com/MCauz, CAUZ 56. It is Matt Cauz. How you doing? Oh, no. Hello?
I think he spilled his wine.
He is a wine connoisseur. That is true.
He is.
I heard a little bit of rustling, and then he was gone. It's kind of like that Seinfeld episode, right? Where George leaves his briefcase behind, and there's a metallic squink, followed by a glowing glonk. And anyway, we'll try and reconnect. I gave him such a nice big intro there, right? I plugged everything, built him up, and then he wasn't even there.
Speaking of CFL, I actually spiked the numbers for best helmet in the CFL.
Okay.
The Alouettes were dead last, and they were ahead because of yours truly.
Yeah, that's a crack website, by the way, CFL.ca.
It is.
Yeah, Mo has altered the poll results by
Steph
himself.
and I once did it a few years ago.
That's right. What was that for again?
That's something Al's related.
Very nice. All right, let's. I think we do have him now. Let's go to Matt Cauz. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I don't think I've ever rooted for the Golden State Warriors as I am right now. It's a great day to watch sports.
Now, Matt, right before the accidental hang-up there, Mocon speculated that perhaps you dropped wine on the phone.
You know what? That would not be a horrible speculation, as I am comparing some Australian Riesling with some German Riesling, trying to figure out the difference in flavor profile. But I know I'm just doing what everyone else is doing on a Sunday afternoon.
All right. Now, have you seen the crazy TSN stats about Chicago and St. Louis, by the way, about how St. Louis lost last year versus this year? Do you see those numbers?
No, I haven't. Fill me in.
Okay.
I've been sort of toggling between that game and the NBA playoffs right now.
All right. Well, TSN, I think it's the Duthie panel. They had stats about last year. Blues blew a 2-0 lead, right, and lost in 4 straight to the Kings. And a similar predicament potentially happening again. Games 1 and 2 last year, they win with game-winning goals by Steen and Jackman. Same thing this year. Games 3 and 4 in LA, games 3 and 4 in Chicago this year. Same exact score, same situation with one of them taking overtime. And then game 5 losing at home in overtime, same score again, same thing happened. And game 6 last year, 2-1 for the Kings in the clincher. And guess what the score is right now? It's 1-1.
You know what? That's creepy. I mean, well, the first thought that goes through my head is, if you're in St. Louis, don't you wish you were in the East? You know, it's like you lose to the LA Kings, who won it a couple of years ago and one of the best. You know, you're losing now to the Blackhawks, who won it last year and are starting to look like the team we saw last year. In a lot of ways, I feel bad for St. Louis because they're a very good regular season team, but I always wonder if they have that next gear, because once the playoffs start, everyone plays a bit better, and you wonder if what you see in St. Louis during the regular season is what you're going to see with them in the playoffs. Now, you put them in the East, and clearly they're the second best team.
Yeah. Matt Cauz joining us here. Now, obviously, the big news, and we were just talking about the CFL. I wanted to get your take on the whole Ocho Cinco thing and the Owls signing him, obviously, your thoughts on that, and also if it'll be good for the league or not.
Well, money is a great motivator. I think that's the first thing. Like if Chad, is he Ocho Cinco or is he Johnson? I guess I was looking on the Montreal website, and they got his name as Chad Johnson. So, that sort of confused me at first, and then I saw, oh, yeah, there he is. He went to Oregon State. That's the guy. Will it be good for the league? I don't think it's going to do either. And I know that's not a sexy answer, but my take is he'll play 6-7 games at most. I don't think he's really going to be that much of a factor. You look at his age, you look at the fact that most guys who come from the NFL, when they come to the CFL, they usually don't have that much success. And, with uncertainty at the quarterback position, can't even tell for sure, just how effective he'll be. It's not like 5-6 years ago when you had, Anthony Calvillo only at 38 years old. I mean, now you've got a trio of question marks.
Matt, looking at the Toronto Raptors and tonight's big game against the Brooklyn Nets, how emotional was that loss for them on Friday? And do you think that will carry over, given that they were down 15, made it very close late in the game, but couldn't close it out?
Yeah, you know what? I about momentum, I don't think it's going to be there. The only positive it can have is that maybe the team realizes we can play with these guys. But I'll say this. The almost near comeback doesn't impress me that much because every team goes on runs. The fact that they were down by that much, that's more telling to me that New Jersey, that the Brooklyn Nets were able to dominate, were able to control that game for the most part. And let's face it, through 3 games, Toronto hasn't played well. They've had a couple good spurts here and there, but they haven't played well at all. You look at the turnovers, which have been ridiculous. Terrence Ross has been invisible. Offensively, this team has been challenged in most of the games. They don't really seem to have much flow. You see where they don't engage their offense until there's about 4 or 5 seconds left on the shot clock. It's been a pretty sloppy 3 games for the Raptors so far.
Elsewhere, the Jays losing, or rather winning today. Sorry, I'm just used to them losing. But R.A. Dickey, a great start today. One of our experts we have on the show, Jeff Erickson from rotowire.com, talked about the fact that there's just some erosion in terms of the speed of his fastball with R.A. Dickey, and how he really thinks he's going to have a huge step back this year in terms of performance. Big win, though, today for him. He was leading the majors in walks, no walks today, and getting the win over the Red Sox. Your thoughts on the Blue Jays right now and Dickey?
Well, first, Dickey, shocking. You mean a guy who's in his mid-30s is going to lose something on his fastball, a guy who really had about maybe 2-3 good years with the New York Mets, so you're in the National League. Now you come over to the American League and things are going downhill. Shocking. My thoughts, good on him for not getting any walks, but can we just have one Toronto Blue Jay pitcher start the 8th inning, or even get into more than just a little bit of the 7th inning? I think the entire bullpen this weekend, they pitched over 12 innings. Burley finally came back down to earth a little bit. Morrow kept doing Brandon Morrow things, which is being inconsistent and being a horrible pitcher. Good for Dickey today because we've sort of been waiting for it. He's been underperforming all year and doing it in a good crowd. There's about 45,000 against a pretty good team in Boston. Not a great team, not the team that we saw last year. You know what I'm feeling right now with the Jays is there's a lot of malaise. I mean, this team stinks. This team is better than they were last year, but last year was one of the worst Blue Jay seasons I can remember. And I think the thing going best for them right now is no team in the American League East has really jumped out to a big lead.
Matt, I was reading Jonah Carey's book about the Expos, talking about it from 77 to 84, how the Expos had literally no second baseman whatsoever. I think something like 82 to 84, they had 0 home runs from the position. And I look at the Blue Jays, and it's almost like they forgot to get a second baseman this year. Yeah, well, I wish that was the main concern of this team. You're right. If you look at Toronto in terms of position of power, there's no real depth there. There's no consistency when you look at the team in terms of the position of strength between the infield and the outfield. And you're right about at second base. I mean, Ryan Goins is horrible. Let's face it. And the problem is the team needs more consistency offensively. Reyes, we don't know how much time he's going to be in and out of the lineup. Edwin, well, he's still not he's still not swinging a good bat right now. I still have faith in Brett Laurie. I think he's going to do better. The only positive I can think of right now is Melky Cabrera just coming back, being fully healthy. It's very odd to say because last year no one was rooting for him. It's nice to see with him, but you're right about second base. Goins, it's an automatic out. I mean, seeing him at the plate
is like watching a National League game and watching the pitcher. I mean, you sort of know, okay, 3 or 4 pitches at most, and this guy will record it out.
Matt, furthermore, on the Jays here, where do they stand now in the hierarchy of the 7 million Raptor fans that there are in Toronto right now? Have they taken a dramatic fall of fan interest, considering that last year they was an utter collapse, and this year, no talk of the Blue Jays, but now at this point, sort of in the race for the AL East?
Oh, yeah. The Blue Jays right now are just nowhere on the radar. And you know what?
Well, it's hard to say that, Matt, when they got 45,000
There's
today.
162 games. You've got the NHL playoffs, but first and foremost, you've got the Raptors. You've got a team that everyone loves. Everyone loves this team in this city because the expectations were so low. It's sort of the opposite of what the Blue Jays were last year. The expectations were high and everything came crashing down. This was a Raptor team that was supposed to be gunning for Andrew Wiggins. This was not supposed to be a team that had Andrew Wiggins watching courtside a playoff win by the Raptors. And I don't think it's going to have a long-term impact for the Blue Jays. Again, they had a nice crowd today because eventually the playoffs for the Raptors will be done and the shift will go towards the Blue Jays. The worst thing that can happen for the Jays is if the Raptors win the first round, if they can extend it. Because what it's going to, it's just going to take the casual eyeball that might have gone over to baseball and stick over with basketball. But big picture for the city of Toronto, the more teams that are doing well, the better it is for the entire city because it just puts the entire city in more of a sports frame of mind. And, or just the idea of going out and getting together in huge groups to celebrate as one giant conglomerate sports fan it was a great thing for the Maple Leafs last year. And you know what? The Raptor fans have not been disappointing.
Now, it's hard for me, Matt, when you were just talking about the Blue Jays. I mean, they got, like you said, they got 45,000 today. That's pretty big.
Remember, sunny Sunday, Boston, the Raptors play at 7 o'clock tonight. And if the Jays can stick around 500, and if the Jays can just keep some semblance of relevance, they'll get good crowds. They're not going to right now, especially, a Tuesday, Wednesday night, if it isn't against an American League East team. And I think the Blue Jays are fine with that. And that's the reality for all baseball teams. It's not just about Toronto, but there is a dissatisfaction because of last year, because of the Irvin Santana situation where people are starting to think that ownership isn't willing to do everything required to win it all. And those kind of things, they have an impact on the sports fan.
He is Matt Cauz, CFL.ca, or check out, obviously, his show on TSN 1050, MCauz56 on Twitter as well. Prediction for the Raptors tonight?
Prediction for the Raptors, I'm going positive. Beyond the Donald Sterling story, I'm in a positive mood. So I think the Raptors win this game. One of these times, they have to have fewer than 20 turnovers. I think that could be it tonight. The big key is Terrence Ross. Are they going to be able to get anything out of him? Because if he's hitting a couple shots, it calms the rest of the offense down. It creates more spacing on the floor for everyone else. So if Ross can even have a B-level game, Toronto should win.
All right, Matt, thanks so much. Appreciate it. And let us know how that wine decision turns out.
Well, I'll tell you right now, the Australian wine, it's a little bit more fruit forward, but I'm having some issues on the acidity. I'll keep you guys up to date because I know this is thrilling talk that everyone needs information about.
Will do. Thanks, Matt.
Take care, guys. Have a great show.
There you go. That's some Matt Cauz from TSN 1050. The acidity. He's having a problem with the acidity.
I might crash the show when I go down for the CFL draft in May.
Well, that would be interesting. You know, wear your best sweatpants or what?
I'll be in suit.
Oh, wow.
I'll just walk in on Cauz with a bottle of wine.
Wait, a sweatsuit, right?
Very nice, Stefano.
Maybe.